Deathless 06MH 15773. Your control panel for the van just above the habitation door. To turn the van on, once you're plugged in, first off, this light here will light up to see you're plugged into the mains. To turn the van on, simply press that up. And to turn the van off, just press that down. So that's the van on. This is for the 230 volt to say that you're plugged in. This tells you what power you're drawing. At the moment you're drawing power because we're not plugged in. So if we're plugged in, that will be 0. This here just a reserve switch, that does nothing. Here tells it controls your time and temperature inside and outside. Here you have your levels for your leisure battery, engine battery, freshwater tank and waste. So for your engine battery, simply press up. You have 13 volts or just under it. And for your leisure, press down and you're just under 13 volts. Once you plug into the mains, that there will go over 13 volts to nearly 14 volts to show this is charging. This one in the middle is an alarm. If you're not plugged in there, you're wild camping and your leisure battery drops below a certain level, this here will light up to tell you to plug your van in or even start your engine for half an hour or an hour to charge the battery back up again. Once you're driving along on the road, your leisure battery also charges up as well as your engine battery. This here button is for your freshwater tank. You can see you're 3/4 full, and for your waste, just press down. That's empty at the minute. Your fridge, just underneath your gas hob, has 3 modes. This is the handle for opening up, by the way. Just pull this back and open up your fridge door. It has 3 modes. The first one's gas. That's your 230 and your leisure battery. So simply just turn the knob to whatever function you want. Now, the leisure battery mode will not work unless the engine is running. It's mostly used for travelling purposes. So if you're going between campsites or wherever you're heading to and you want the fridge on, it's recommended to use the leisure battery mode. And that will not work unless the engine is running. So to light this one in gas, simply turn this knob to gas. Come over to this knob. If you can see the wee red flame, you'll hear the fridge sparkle in the back. So if you see the wee red marker here, once you press this down, this red marker goes up onto the green. And that's it. And to turn it off again, just go back to 0 and that's it off. Your gas hobs, you'll need a match or a sparker to light these. So simply turn, push down and light, and that's you. Just the same as at home. Your oven, that's just an oven only. You'll need a sparker for this as well to light it. Fortunately, you have to get down into it. Just turn the knob, push in and sparker, and away she goes. These valves here, these are the gas valves for the various gas appliances in the van. You don't have to worry about them. That's them on the on position there now. You can turn them off just by turning this to that direction. That turns off all the gas appliances. They're mostly just for service purposes, so you don't really have to touch them. Your heating has 2 modes as well. You have gas and electric. This one on the right hand side controls whether you have gas or electric, and this one here controls your functions for heating and warm water. So the middle one here, you see the wee nib here on the end of the wheel. That flame on its own is gas. The flame underneath, sorry, I'll just go above it. These wee squiggly lines, that's your electric. You have two elements of the electric. You have element 1 and element 2. Element 1 is the lower heating system on the electric, and the element 2 will be the wee bit higher. So then the flames underneath here, you have a mixture of gas and electric together. So you have gas element 1 and gas element 2. So we'll go across here then. This first flame is your heating. The one underneath here is heating and warm water. It's usually quicker just to run your heating and then your warm water afterwards. Heating and warm water together it's slow. So it's usually better to heat the van or heat your water first, then heat your van. So to turn on the heating, just simply go down to your flame. This one here in the middle is controls your fan. Your boiler is just underneath here, underneath that door. You will hear it firing up. And for your warm water, just simply turn the wheel. You have 40 degrees or 60 degrees. We would usually say that 60 degrees is for showering and 40 degrees then just for washing your dishes or things like that. So to turn the whole thing off again, simply go back to 0. And that's it off. If you want electric, you just turn up to whatever one you want. Now, the electric heating isn't as powerful as the gas. There's nowhere near as big a blow coming through the vents as gas. The electric's very light compared to the gas. The bed in the living area. The table folds down. The bottom leg has a knuckle on it. Just pull out from the middle and the leg folds out. There has a rail here. The rail, the table clips onto that. Your cushions then from this seat then fold down to the bed. The passenger side seat swings around for extra footroom. There's cushions in the boot or in the garage. They go on along here and up here near the top. They take up extra space. So that's the bed in the living area. So this is the table for the bed I just showed you. This is the knuckle joint. You simply just pull down and she clips back into place. So it's hard to do with one hand. Simply pull out and she locks back into place again. There's an extension board on this table for the bed. As you can see here, this piece here is an extension. You have rails. This rail extends out to fit this piece, so simply unscrew these wee knobs here and the rail pulls out to make up your extra bed, or if you want extra room to sit at the table. So if you take out that there piece again, there's a wee dial, and here in the middle that locates into place. So to take that out, just loosen these, and this extends up and the piece just more or less falls out, as you can see when you waggle it there. To release this from the rail over there, it's locked into place there now. See, once she slips into the place of the rail, this wee boy here pops up, locks it into place under the rail. So if you want the table out, simply push this down and that'll release the table from the rails. For the bed above the cab, the seats have to be positioned like that. There's a handle on the side of the seats for the swivel and to release the back of the seat back again. That was the best position I could find to bring down the bunk. And then you have a ladder then to climb up. The seat belt here secures the bunk up to here. So all you do is simply lift it up and secure the bed back up again. So to release it, just press that button and pull. Your freshwater tank is under the main seating area. You have a plug inside this tank for when filling up the tank for your journey. We would recommend during the winter to empty the tanks to stop from freezing and busting pipes. Now this tank, you have to screw on this red lid. If you can see the white, that's your plug there. At the minute that's in the closed position. To open that up, you have to reach in, pull that back and pull the plug out. That empties your freshwater tank. When refilling this, you simply put the plug back into place and turn the lever over to where you see it there now. And make sure you screw that back on again. You have a valve on your boiler as well for when you're filling up the van. It's called a frost valve. And that's it here. Make sure this wee red button here is pulled up. Just simply pull it up. That closes the valve. What that does as a safety precaution for the boiler, during the cold weather, if you have water in your system and that button's up, if that goes below 2 degrees, that button pops down and releases all the water from the boiler to stop the boiler from busting. So when you're filling your van for water for the first time, the plug on your freshwater tank has to be in the closed position, and this button has to be pulled up. If you find that red button doesn't come up, the weather's too cold. So simply run your heating for half an hour, 20 minutes. That warms up the system and the button should stay up by itself then. So when you're emptying the van now for winter, push that button down, that empties the boiler. Take a plug out of the freshwater tank, that empties your tank. Then run your water through the taps until all the pipes is completely empty, usually between the hot and cold, and until nothing else comes out, obviously. You can blow on through the taps if you so wish. It'll get rid of any excess water onto the pipes. Once you fill your water as well for the first time in your freshwater tank, it will take a while. When you go to run your tap, it could take to 2, 3 or 4 minutes for the system to push all the air out of the pipes. So for maybe 3, 4 minutes, maybe 5, you won't have water. So just simply keep your tap on. Just keep it on between the hot and cold until the water comes through. I had this one just working, so that's why there's water coming through. Your toilet area, your tap works the same way as your sink. For your shower, simply push this in and pull out, and then you have your shower. And simply push it back in again until that locks. For your toilet, you have a cassette where all the contents go into. This wee back flap, make sure that's in the closed position, as you see there, when you're trying to take out the cassette. Otherwise the cassette will not come out. There's a lever down here in the bottom. You see this grey lever? It opens and closes it. That's it open. That's it closed. For the pump, just simply this blue button here. So just simply press on that. As you can see, that fills up the toilet. Again, just to empty that up, just press the grey lever as I showed you. There's a light on this as well, just in here. It's very dark in here. That will light red whenever your cassette is full. So that's time to empty your cassette. And again, make sure that lever is all the road over to the left before taking out the cassette. So this is your toilet cassette. To pull it out, simply lift up this yellow tab here, pull out. It comes the whole way out. To empty it empties out through here. So this boy here turns out, and this screws on here at the top. So if you go to whatever campsite you're on, you can go to a gully or facilities to empty your cassette. And that just simply pops back in again until it clicks into place. This here tap is where you fill your fresh water. It goes straight into the tank. The gas on the left hand side. To turn the gas on, it's on here at the minute, but to turn it off, I simply turn this clockwise. The whole road over, and that turns your gas off. To turn it on, anti-clockwise. There's a yellow boy here, it's on the open position. To close that off, simply pull that lever down. That also closes the gas off. To change the bottles, this nut here is left hand thread, so it's completely different to opposite. So instead of lefty loosey and righty tighty, it's lefty tighty, righty loosey. And the gas spanner is here to loosen that off. Once you're putting that back on, there's a wee rubber O-ring in here. Make sure that's on, otherwise you'll have a gas leak. Your step is electric. You have a switch here, just the two wee arrows. Once you start down in this van, there's a buzzer goes off to let you know that the step is out before you drive off. Unfortunately, this van you have to get up again and come down and pull the step on. This one here is for where you connect your mains. That is your exhaust for your gas heating. You do nothing with that. And here you have a barbecue point. There's an adapter that goes onto this here. You push on and turn, and that connects to your gas barbecue. The contents of your freshwater tank, it goes into a waste tank, and it also has to be emptied. There's a lever just on the bottom left of the habitation door. You can see it here, the wee square end. So if you pull that in, turn anti-clockwise. That opens up the pipe. That releases your contents from the freshwater pipe, the freshwater tank. Sorry. Close it off again, turn clockwise. Your van has a reversing camera. You can see it just up there to the right. Once you go into reverse, see it automatically comes on. And to release the bonnet, it's just that wee grey lever underneath the steering wheel. So that's it.